up everyone, Mandy here from On The Grow, and today I'm back at you with a new walkthrough, and this one's going to be of Nasturtium, Empress of India, and we're also going to do a little bit of an experiment here. So I'll see you here in a bit. So today we are going to start the Empress of India Nasturtium full walkthrough, and we're also going to do a little bit of a nutrient experiment as well. But for now, let's go over what we're going to need. So for the actual grow, you're going to need two 5x5s. I'm doing my nasturtium grow in 5x5s because we don't need a ton of nasturtium, so I want to keep it small. I'm also going to be using two of these 10x10s that have absolutely no holes in them. The reason why I'm using two of them is because I'm going to be doing two different nutrients, so I need two different bottom trays. And sadly, we don't have any 5x5s that don't have holes, otherwise I would use those. But for now, we're just going to use the 10x10s. So you're also going to need a spray bottle to water with. You're going to need some coco coir as your grow medium, and you're going to need your seeds. So for my seed, I am using the Empress of India variety, which I really like. It has a really nice purple tone to it, so that's what we're going to use today. And we're also going to have a scale and a way of measuring out our seed, and I also have this little cup here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on my scale. And for this grow, we're only going to do 10 grams of seed per 5x5. So I'm going to go ahead and get one of them weighed out real quick. So I know it's just over a tablespoon. That was a little bit too much, so I'm going to knock just a little bit back. Since these seeds are a lot bigger, it really doesn't take much. So behind me, I have my coco coir. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to get a little bit of it, and I'm not going to fill this up all the way just yet. The reason is because we're going to do a layer of cocoa on top of the seed. So just fill it up almost to the top, but not all the way. So that is it for the first tray. I'm gonna go ahead and fill up the other one real quick, and I will get right back to this. All right, so I have filled up both of my 5x5s with coco coir. You can use soil if you'd like to. I just prefer coco coir because I know it gives me really great results. So what we're going to do now is we're gonna take that 10 grams of seed and we're gonna seed our first tray. So this one's really easy because the seeds are so big. Just try to distribute it as even as possible and fill in any little blank areas. And that's it for that tray. So I'm gonna go ahead and weigh out the other 10 grams of seed, and we're going to do the other tray. Okay. So now let's go ahead and seed our other tray real quick. I'm gonna fix that little clump. Came out a little faster than what I expected it to. Okay. I'm gonna move a couple of these over. The beauty about bigger seeds is they are a lot easier to manage than the small seeds. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a thin layer of coco coir on top of this. I'm gonna fill it almost to the top. I want to go directly to the top, keep a little bit of a distance. So that way whenever it pushes it up, it doesn't push all of it out. Okay, and you want to leave it pretty loose. You don't want to pat it down a ton, but I would pat it down slightly, just don't like jam it down all the way. And if you get any clumps, try to break those up. Okay. All right, so now we are going to water these real quick, and I'm going to use a spray bottle. And you want to try to get it pretty decently wet. You don't want to soak it super, super bad, but just try to get it a good water. Luckily with a 5x5, it's really easy to water it like this. Doesn't take too much. All right, so that should be pretty good. So what we're going to do now is I'm actually going to put these on the shelf behind me, and these will not be in the light at all. And what we're going to do for the watering is I'm going to come out and I'm going to do that same process tonight where I'm just going to mist it with this spray bottle, and I will do that for the next 4 days. This does not have any nutrients in it, and we will not be bottom watering it until we actually see that these are germinated and they have come up. Once those have germinated and we start to see the nasturtium actually coming through and see the roots poking through the bottom of the tray, we will begin the bottom watering and doing the actual nutrient tests. But until then, I'm getting really far ahead of myself. We will get to that point. From now on, we will see you every day. It is day 5 of our nasturtium grow. So let's go ahead and pull this off of this shelf and we will take a peek at it real quick. So the soil is still looking very agitated. And I am seeing one starting to come up right here. So that means everything else should be popping up very, very soon. And I am seeing a little bit of molding right there. So I'm going to spray this with our hydrogen peroxide water mixture. And I'm pretty sure that's just from the seeds underneath. Nasturtium seeds tend to mold. So that's probably what we're seeing right here. So let's go ahead and give it a little mist just on that little spot. And I think that is the only one. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our hose on the mist setting and we're just going to give these both a water. And we're still not bottom watering these. We're getting very, very close though, because now I'm starting to actually see nasturtium poking up, which means soon we should be seeing more of the roots coming through, which that'll be the sign for us to start bottom watering. All right, so I'm going to put these back on this shelf. Later tonight, I'm going to come back out and I'm just going to give them another mist on top, and I will see you tomorrow. Today is day 6 of our nasturtium grow. So let's go ahead and pull both of these off the shelf and let's take a peek at it. So today is going to be an exciting day because we are already seeing the nasturtium poking through the tops of both of these, and we are starting to see some roots coming through right here. So that means that today we are going to begin bottom watering both of these, I believe. Yep. So we're going to start bottom watering today, and on top of that, we are going to introduce them to light. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to get them their specified nutrients. This one's going to get MasterBlend, and this one's going to get Ocean Solution. So let's start with MasterBlend. So I'm going to be giving them half a cup of water. Let's see. That's too much. A little less. Okay, so I'm going to pour the half a cup of water into the tray to start bottom watering. And since the tray is a lot bigger than this itself, we're just going to kind of tilt that for a second, and that way it can suck up some of that into it. And then we'll just let it sit for the rest of it. Okay, and now move this out of my way. Let's get the half a cup of Ocean Solution. Oh, I almost got it perfectly. Okay. And now let's do the same for this one. So today we will not be adding any water to the top of this because we are bottom watering it. Ooh, this is exciting. So we should start seeing these growing really fast over the next few days, which will be awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and put these on the shelf here. So I'm going to turn the light on for this, and later tonight I'm going to come out and give them a little bit more water if they need it, but I will see you tomorrow. It is day 7 of our nasturtium grow, so let's go ahead and pull these off of the shelf and let's take a peek at them. So as you can tell, both of them have quite a few of the nasturtium beginning to pop up, and like I said before, nasturtium grows fairly fast, so these are already getting to a good height. And within the next few days, we're going to see these really get to where they're supposed to be. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give them both their specified nutrient. And because the medium looks pretty wet, I'm actually going to give it a little less today. Yesterday we were doing half a cup. So today I'm going to drop that down to the 1/3 mark. because I don't want to overwater it, because we will run into issues with mold if we continue to do that. But if we underwater it, we'll run into it drying out. So this is our MasterBlend, and we're giving it 1/3. And let's just kind of tilt it there so we can soak some of that up. Okay, and now let's do our ocean solution. Alright, need a little less than that. Perfect. Let's do the same thing. Tilt it for a second. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place both of these back onto our shelf. And later tonight, I'm going to come back out. I'm going to give them both a little bit more of their specified nutrient. And I will place it back on this shelf here. And I'll see you tomorrow. It is day 8 of our nasturtium grow. So let's go ahead and pull these off of this shelf and take a look at them both. So right away, I'm already seeing that both of these are growing quite a bit. I want to put them closer together. And so far from the nutrients, I'm really not noticing much of a difference. It looks like we're getting a little, I don't know, it's actually pretty it's basically the same. So far nutrients haven't really played a big factor into this, but as far as our germination and the overall appearance of both of these, they are both looking really awesome. And as you can tell, nasturtium starts to grow at a fast rate, like I said before. So pretty soon we should start to see these up to about here. And that means that we are getting closer to the harvest day around that time. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to give both of these some water. And I'm seeing that this one hasn't soaked up all the water. So that tells me that these really don't need too much today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the ocean solution probably 1/3 cup of water today, and that should be perfect. And just get it to the 1/3 mark, a little less. Okay, so that's 1/3 cup of ocean solution. I don't know if you can see it, but you see those roots? They look nice and happy. Let's go ahead and soak that in there. And now I'm going to grab my 1/3 cup of MasterBlend. Lid was on there pretty hard. Okay, a little less. And now let's give it its 1/3. Just let it soak in that corner. So that is it for today with the nasturtium. We're going to go ahead and put both of these back on the shelf. And later tonight, I'll come back out, give them both a little bit of water, just not too much, and I will see you tomorrow. It is day 9 of our nasturtium grow. So let's pull it off of the shelf and let's take a peek at it. So right away, I am noticing that everything is looking really awesome. And on both of these trays, the coloration is really the same. I am noticing that on my MasterBlend side, that it appears that I did get better germination than I did over here. But as far as the coloration, it looks identical. Both are extremely pretty, and I'm very, very happy with the purple and green tones that I am seeing. So what I'm going to do now is first check this medium. It is still pretty moist, so I'm actually going to give this probably under half a cup today on both of them. So let's start with our ocean solution. Let's give it, we're gonna give it 1/3 cup today. So let's go a little less. Usually you can judge how much water to give it by looking at the medium. If the medium looks too moist, then you want to give it less water. But if it starts to look dry, you want to kind of bump it up just a pinch. So it's that one. Now let's go to our MasterBlend. Put my lid back on. And we're also going to give that 1/3 cup. Awesome. Move that to that corner so we can get the water. All right, so now I'm going to put these back onto the shelf. And later tonight, I'm gonna come back out, double check them, give both of them probably 1/3 cup of water each, and I will see you tomorrow. It is day 10 of our nasturtium grow, so let's pull these off the shelf and take a peek at them. So right away, I can already tell that our MasterBlend tray is doing better than our Ocean Solution is. We got a lot more growth on this one, and this seems to be going pretty slow. As you can tell, there's a bunch of small ones. So I'm thinking MasterBlend is definitely winning on this. As far as coloration, the coloration is very similar so far, so I'm not really seeing any big difference there. And I guess we'll just have to come down to the actual taste of this whenever we get to harvest day. And I'm noticing our medium is still pretty wet, and I can tell just by the appearance, and also by touching it, I can actually see the water on my hand. So I'm going to give them, I think today we'll give them both 1/4 cup. So it's actually less than what I've been giving them, just because I don't want to drown them too much. So let me go ahead and get that. Okay, so this is 1/4 cup of our Ocean Solution. Make sure it all gets over there. Kind of tilt it a little bit. And now let me get 1/4 cup of our MasterBlend. Pour it out a little bit. Okay, and 1/4 cup of our MasterBlend. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these both back onto our shelf, and later tonight I'll come back out, double check everything, and I'm probably still going to give it 1/4 cup because it really doesn't need too much water. So I'll see you tomorrow. It is day 11 of our nasturtium grow. So let's pull these off the shelf and take a peek at them. So this one's beginning to catch up more with our MasterBlend. And so far our growth is looking pretty even with both of them. This one is slightly more ahead, but the coloration still looks the exact same on both of these to me. And we're also getting really close to our harvest day. So let's go ahead and take a peek at this medium. Our medium is still pretty moist. I don't know if you can see it, but if I squish it, you can see a lot of that water still in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to water both of them. And I think I'm only going to give them, we'll give them each 1/4 cup. So let's do 1/4 cup of our Ocean Solution. Okay, so 1/4 cup Ocean Solution for our Ocean Solution tray. Let that kind of soak up. And now 1/4 cup of MasterBlend. A little less than that. Okay, and our MasterBlend. So I'm just going to kind of tilt this over so that way it can get soaked up. And these are both looking super beautiful. Can you see all that beautiful purple on those stems too? That's what I like about the Empress variety, is it has a much purpler stem than the Jewel Mix does. It's gorgeous. Okay, so let's go ahead and put these both back on the shelf real quick. And later tonight, I'm gonna come back out, double check everything, and I'm gonna give them both 1/4 cup each, and I'll see you tomorrow. It is day 12 of our nasturtium grow. So we're actually gonna call this harvest day, and there's a few reasons why I'm going to do that. So if you can already see here, the distance from the plant to the light is getting really, really close. So for me, I'm just gonna go ahead and judge this and say that that is the perfect time that I want to harvest, because otherwise, if I go any further, it's just gonna be touching the light, it's gonna be touching the shelf, and it's just gonna overall look pretty crazy over here. So this is going to be our harvest day. So let's pull that off. And I'm gonna put this in with the other one now. So first, let's go over the looks of both of them. So as you can tell, the height between the two are pretty much the same. This one's just a little bit more ahead than this one is, but it's really not by a whole lot. And then also our coloration is actually basically the same too. So there really wasn't too strong of an advantage to using MasterBlend over Ocean Solution. It was very, very similar in my opinion, but at the very least what we'll do is we'll give it a taste test. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick. Get a little ahead of myself, I know. But I just really, really like Nasturtium. So let's taste the MasterBlend real quick. There's that spiciness. If you've never had Nasturtium, it has a very strong spice to it at the end of the rest of the palate that hits your tongue. I think that was really good. Okay, so now let's taste the Ocean Solution. So I'm gonna get one of those off there. Here you go, CJ, kind of tore it a little bit. And I don't know if it's just me, or the one I got, but I felt like this one, the Ocean Solution, actually had a little bit more flavor right away, along with the spiciness was a lot quicker to hit my tongue than this one was. But overall, they were very, very similar in the taste. So before I start to actually harvest, I want to go over a few more things about Nasturtium. So with Nasturtium, you can actually eat the stems on this. They are edible, and also the leaves. This also, at a point of its life cycle, will put out a flower that is very, very pretty and also edible. I have not ever gotten it to the flowering stage. I'm still trying to get it there. It's pretty difficult to get there. I don't know if it's just me or what, but I know I have a hard time with it. So maybe in the future we'll get to that point. But for now, I like to grow it out to this stage because it is a very unique crop. So you can also decide when you want to harvest it by your leaf size here. Because if you let this grow out longer, you'll get bigger leaves. So if you want bigger leaves, let it grow out to a longer time, and you'll also get longer stems. But if you want smaller leaves, you can harvest it at this time. And the difference in the flavor will be usually the bigger leaves are going to be more mild, and the smaller leaves are going to have a lot more pungent of a flavor. So it's really based on what you want to do. And then also there's two different ways of harvesting this. So you can go ahead and chop it like I'm going to do today, where you just cut it at the stem and you cut everything all together. And that's usually if you want to use the stems along with the leaves of this. But whenever you do that, it doesn't grow back. Like you're not gonna get this to come back again compared to if you just pinch off leaves like that and you just use the leaves whenever you want to, then it will continue to grow. So it really just depends on what you want to do with your crop. And I want to just harvest the whole thing. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna eat that. Okay, so let's go ahead and harvest. So what you're going to need first is something to harvest into. I'm gonna use this bowl, and because I like to take my data, I'm going to use a scale, which we're gonna zero out. And then you're going to need a knife, and make sure it is a very sharp one. So I'm gonna set this one out of my way real quick, and we're gonna start with the MasterBlend. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of harvest it. I think I'm gonna harvest it a little bit high up so I don't get that medium in there. And these are a little bit harder of a stem, so your knife might not glide through it as easily with some other microgreens. Okay, also look how beautiful these are. They remind me of like a little fairy tale. Like they're a type of thing that you would see out in like a wooded area, and then there'd be like little fairies or something there. They're very unique looking, and probably one of the most unique tasting things that I've had in a long time. The amount of flavors that hit your tongue from this is just kind of shocking. I remember the first time we tried it, we didn't think that it was going to have so many flavors, but it kind of just takes you on a full roller coaster of flavors, ending with a very spicy hint. Oh, this looks so pretty. Okay, so for our MasterBlend, we got 33 grams, or 34. Decided to move up a little bit. So now I'm gonna set this out of my way. And let's go ahead and we're gonna harvest it into this jar, so that way I'm not wasting a giant bag since these are so small, and I don't wanna use a giant bag, that'd be kind of pointless. So let's go ahead and put these in there. I think this is probably one of the easier ones I've harvested in a while. Okay, we're just gonna wiggle it in. Boop. Perfect. Look at how pretty that looks. Oh, it's gorgeous. Okay, so I'm gonna close that a little bit. And now let's move on to this one. Zero out my scale. Let's just lightly grab it. Get a little swoop. Look at how pretty that is. Oh, I love the purple. This is why the Empress one is still one of my favorite varieties of Nasturtium, is because of the stem color. It's just a lot more purpley colored than the jewel mix is. Okay, and oh, they got stuck. And the last few. So this one, we got 21 grams from it. So let's go ahead and get this harvested into our jar. And that way we can keep it nice and fresh. Okay, perfect. Oh man, I can smell the spiciness. It's like, God, I wish I could give a really good representation of what this smells like, but it's just something you're gonna have to experience for yourself. All right, so what I'm going to do now is these two mediums here, I'm gonna end up tossing this into our outdoor compost pile, and that way it can either go back to the earth or we can use it in our outdoor gardens for like potted plants or whatever we decide to do with it. But for now, I'm going to set it out of my way. I had such a great time growing one of my favorite crops with you guys. This one is truly a unique crop to grow, and I really encourage people to give it a try at least one time. It's definitely one that you'll either love it or you won't, but it is so much fun to try growing it. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you dislike it, give it a thumbs down. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it in the section below. And also, if you'd like to subscribe to us, it pops up over here somewhere. And also our Instagram and Facebook are both at On The Grow Farms. And we now have a website that is up and running, which is www.onthegrow.net. So thank you so much and have a great day.